I am Kristen Christian, and I'm affectionately known around here as KC, and I recently moved to KC, so I have no shortage of apparel with my initials on it, living in Kansas City. This is going to be a tough act to follow after looking at all these really new, exciting enhancements, but no less important. I want to talk about a couple of things that Acumatica has done that is very simple, or seems simple, but actually adds, I think, a ton of value to us. And one of them is adding manufacturing departments, and it's a new option on our bill of materials. The next one will be our in-transit supply quantities. And maybe you didn't even know that wasn't there before. So let's take a look at what this looks like in the new version. So on our bill of materials screen, you're going to see this new section here called Work Centers. And in there we have manufacturing departments. So what exactly does that mean? Well, a lot of times we have a lot of many work centers that kind of cover the same area. Maybe we have, 8 plastic injection molding machines, and they're all their own work center. Well, sometimes from a production management standpoint, we don't want to look at, we're only seeing this real granular view. Maybe we need like a 10,000-foot view to kind of see where things are at. So they have added this new feature called manufacturing departments. And I think along the lines with, the shop floor kiosk, that this is something that's going to continue to be developed for us. And this is the first iteration. So what is that going to do for us? First of all, we can create these departments in this new area, and it's as simple as just creating the plus here. So we're going to add a new record like we would everywhere else, and we're just going to call this our CNC department. And this is at the warehouse level. And from here, we can go ahead, save that, and now we have a department. From here, we can go ahead and add our work centers in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that first work center. And I did this with an assembly area, which was good because Stephanie had just talked about assembly. So from this assembly area, you see I've added 3 different work centers to this particular department. This is going to allow me to customize and configure my reporting and be able to kind of get a little higher view of how much I'm burdening that particular area. And it's especially important when I can take something, maybe I can make the same product in 3 different areas. So I kind of want to see what I've got all piled into that department. From the work center side, so over here, I have added that department ID to my work center list because it's now a field that's available. But when I create work centers, I can also come into that work center, and you're going to see the new field that is being added here called manufacturing department. So from there, we can go ahead and create. So we can either create the work centers first, create the departments first. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Doesn't really matter in this case. You can do that either way. So at this point, now before you blow up the Q&A with all these questions about what this means, right now, this is going to be used for reporting. You create your own custom reports. Everybody would use this a little bit differently. When I think about the people I work with, I can think, everybody might use that a little bit differently, and that's okay. But I can see a lot of value in it in a way that, we want to see a little bit more general and not this granular, and we want to be able to move production around. At this time, it's not being used in any of the scheduling, but I have a feeling that this is a precursor of things that are yet to come, which are going to be, I'm excited to see what they will do with that. So the next thing I want to talk about is our transit in supply quantities. So I'm going to back up a little bit, and this is a few versions ago when we started to see that planned transfer demand, as you're seeing here on the screen. When we started to see this in MRP, that was like a game changer. We wanted to see that plan. Oh yeah, we're going to plan transfer demand. We're showing that in both the warehouses that's going to supply it and the warehouse that's going to receive it. Create those transfer orders directly within MRP. Fantastic. But maybe some of you've noticed, maybe some of you haven't noticed, But once we created that transfer order, we did not see any visibility into that supply order that was coming in. So you would maybe create that transfer order. Maybe somebody forgot, I'm out of inventory, we go into panic mode. And that, or we're calling the other warehouse, where's my stuff? And they're like, well, we already sent that. Everything's fine. We don't have to do this back and forth, emails, phone calls. And so a lot of times, our first instinct, we don't see something in MRP that we expected to see is, we panic a little bit because we don't see it. But the first place we should always go is to our inventory planning results by item. And when we go here, we're going to see absolutely everything that we expected to see, or, what's making up that number. If I'm not seeing it in MRP, well, there's a reason why. So in this case, we could take a deep breath, let it out. It's fine. We're seeing our transfer supply in here that is now being accounted for. So we can prevent having any shortages, any panic moments. That communication is coming across both ways. And I think a lot of times, if our transfer is quick, right, our transfer lead time is fast, we probably haven't noticed this. But when it's a little bit longer, that can be a little bit stressful, especially when things get busy. So again, not quite as flashy and shiny as some of the other really exciting things come, big enhancements. But I think these are things that really make a big difference and add a lot of value and create some efficiencies within your organization. So I hope you have some opportunities to be able to use that. Or if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out.